So I'm here as usual in the city of Newburgh, New York. This time at the corner of Broadway and Grand Street. And I'm looking at this Trek Alpha Series 1000 road bike. I bought this Trek from a scrap metal guy for 60 bucks. He probably would have taken 20 or 30, but I wanted to be reasonably fair. This thing could have ended up at the scrapyard where it would have been worth like $3. They call it dirty aluminum because it's aluminum with steel attached to it. They pay like 20 cents a pound for that. But usually these bikes don't end up in the scrapyard because the scrap guys are savvy enough to sell them to people like me. Now this is the before video of this bike. I haven't cleaned it. All I did was put air in the tires so I could pedal it down here. It's really dirty, it's really worn. I don't know how a bike ends up like this. Even the computer is dead and the computer's all scuffed up. The handlebar tape is dirty, which is understandable. Amazingly, the shifters still work, they're not gummed up, but like all the little bolts are rusty. The brake springs are rusty. The brake bolt washers are rusty. And the problem with rust on a bike like this is it's just not appropriate. The rims are like dirty. The sprocket bolts are rusty. People who buy a bike like this, they don't want to see rusty bolts everywhere. This isn't a bike where patina is a thing. This is a bike where patina is a problem. So I'm probably gonna have to go, either I'll flip this wholesale to somebody who will do all the work, or I'm gonna have to go through it bolt by bolt and clean all the rust, which kind of sucks because I sold my bench grinder that has a wire wheel on it. And like these rusty brake springs are just nasty. But other than that, I mean, that's not abuse, that's neglect, unless you consider neglect to be a passive form of abuse. But other than that, the little rusty bolts, all of which can be cleaned or replaced, and the tires, which are naturally aged, the chain's a little rusty, there's wear and tear, but other than that, it's still a pretty solid bike. It's in good shape. It has these toe clips. I can't stand toe clips. In fact, I'm not really into road bikes. I don't like that drop-down position. Now what it does have, and I want to look in here, but first, the Shimano Sora. I mean, this is all decent stuff. It's like not really my cup of tea, but it's got your bushwhacker bag on it, and usually people empty these bags before they let the scrap metal guy come and take their bike. But this bag looks like it's full. So I have not opened this yet. I don't know what's in here. And I'm holding the camera with one hand, that's why I can't get the thing open. So in here we have a tube, which is awesome because I used my last 700C tube the other day. So that's good to have in the parts bin. And this looks like it used to have some CO2 canisters in it. Now that's litter, I guess. And inside here, sure enough, a few of these little CO2 canisters. Now I have no idea how these even work. How would you inflate the tube? There's your valve stem for your tube. There's your CO2 canister. Do you need a special kind of fitting or tool? Is that in there too? There's like a Trojan ends lubricated condom thing in there. So I guess that's one for the ages, figuring out how to inflate the tube with the CO2 canister. Sometimes these little bags have like a quarter in it for an air pump, and then I get the quarter. But I'd rather have a new tube than a quarter. So that's the before video of the Trek. I'm gonna probably clean this thing up and get it into ship shape so that I can sell it. I'll get rid of this computer because it doesn't work. I'll get rid of this bag, try and clean up the rust, maybe get rid of the toe clips, maybe not. And then I'll shoot another video so you can see the subtle difference between a clean bike and a dirty, crusty old bike. And that's the Trek Alpha 1000, and it's getting windy, so let's see, give it another few seconds to see if the wind will blow this thing over. Come on, wind. Come on. It blew it over like 5 times already. The wind's not cooperating, so I'll just kick it over. The end.